So the week of reveals rolls on and it's officially official. Black Ops 6 has finally revealed a few key details and things that you should be aware of that we're running down for you here in this one. From preloads to launch times to surprising new partnerships to even a weapon they thought they were sneaky throwing into the PC trailer revealed today, we're breaking down all that you need to know. So as we go along, drop your thoughts down below. What do you think of the mentioned changes, new details, and more? Also, if you enjoyed the video or you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it and make sure to subscribe for more Black Ops 6 coverage. Broken record here, we're chasing down 600,000 subscribers, so if you'd like to help us out on that lofty goal of trying to get there by launch or closing that gap at the very least, I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, let's get into it. So first, let's talk preloads. When can you start to download the game so that you're ready to go for Black Ops 6? Yesterday, we talked about how it was seemingly a little strange that PC and BNet in particular had the availability to preload the campaign and multiplayer data packs. No one else had that availability. Zombies, oddly enough, also was not included in that, so we're going to see that coming probably with the rest of the preload times that were revealed as of today, but today we did learn about the preloads for the other platforms out there. Confirmed by the newest blog from COD, preloads for all platforms will start on Monday, October 21st at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, 5 p.m. in the UK and elsewhere in the world, corresponding to those time zones. This will allow you to get that jump on downloading so that come Friday of next week, the 25th, or as we'll touch on in a second, possibly a little earlier with the 24th, if you want to call it an early access period, you can end up jumping right into the action and you don't have to sit there and wait for any downloads of any data to jump into the game. Highly recommend doing that and preloading when the opportunity does arrive, but that leads us to our launch times because this year is a little bit different than years prior, which is a bit interesting in some of the choices made. We'll get to that in a second, but here's where we have to break it down into two distinct parts, both console and PC launches, because they're not all the same. Console, so PlayStation and Xbox, will be releasing on a gradual rollout across the world at midnight local times. So for example, midnight New Zealand is roughly 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, and elsewhere accordingly. So for players in New Zealand, they will have access to the game on PlayStation and Xbox as soon as it hits the 25th at midnight, but people in North America will not, unless you play with a workaround, which we'll get to in a second. But naturally, you would not have access to it. So you'd have to wait until midnight local time, upwards of Mountain Time here in the States, as console launches at the latest time of midnight Mountain Time, which is 11 p.m. Pacific Time on the 24th, leading into the 25th. At that point, anything west of the mountains is going to launch. So Los Angeles gets it at 11 p.m., and for example, for something more west, Hawaii would end up getting the game launching at 8 p.m. local time. Now, where this differs this year is that the Microsoft Store version of PC will also adhere to this midnight local time rollout as well. The first time that, naturally speaking, the game on PC will not be launching at one static time that's time gated fully for the entire world and not region locked. So BNet and Steam will not adhere to this, but the Microsoft Store can. So if you're on PC and in New Zealand, for example, you can play that at midnight local time, being the first in the world on PC, but only with the Microsoft Store version. Otherwise, you'd have to wait a decent bit of time, because traditional PC platforms like BNet and Steam, however, launch at one specific time all around the world, that being 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, 5 a.m. in the UK, 1 p.m. in Tokyo, 3 p.m. in Sydney, and elsewhere. So there will be time beyond North America on PC for those two versions where you may have friends playing the game on console and maybe even again on the Microsoft Store version that you won't have access to it, but they could. Now, we talked about a workaround here. So this essentially is kind of like an early access trick for multiplayer, campaigns, zombies, whatever you want to play. It would be the full game. And that comes back to something you may see creators every year talking about, this joke about how they're taking a vacation to New Zealand, something like that. For this, it is a way to bypass that sort of midnight region lock so that you can access the game as early as that first initial rollout of New Zealand at midnight local time there. So you could play again at 4 a.m. Pacific, 7 a.m. Eastern, noon in the UK, and elsewhere accordingly in conversions to those time zones. Now, to my knowledge, Xbox is as easy as setting up your console region to New Zealand and making sure that your COD account region is also set up for New Zealand. Both of those need to be the case if I'm not mistaken. Your COD account has to be across Xbox, PlayStation, and I'm assuming this would work with the Microsoft Store version of PC as well because of that midnight rollout, but that in particular, not entirely sure because this is the first year we have that as an option and the first year that it adheres to a regional rollout rather than one static time. PlayStation in prior years, it was a bit harder. You had to have an account set up for PlayStation that was in the New Zealand region, which isn't something you can just do on the fly. You had to set up an account from scratch, and then the game also had to be purchased from the New Zealand store, which if you're not from New Zealand, you'd have to end up getting Sony gift cards for the New Zealand region, which you have to buy from third-party sites often. Then you buy it on that secondary New Zealand account, and then you can account share it with your main and swap over to that. So this historically has created some weird issues where later down the line for me, things weren't available in the store. Some menus weren't accessible because like the main account that I'd play on wasn't the one that air quote purchased it and had bought the game. So a bit more convoluted, introduces some weird hurdles potentially down the line, but gives you that extra 17 hours or whatever that you'd end up getting if you want to play that way. But that's a way to get around the sort of region locks and appears to be something that will still be the case this year. And that seems to be the only way we're going to have any sort of early access. Of course, we don't have campaign early access coming at all later this week. Bummer, I think, but it is what it is, but just keep that in mind. Now, that was the stuff that we learned about preloads and the launches, everything confirmed here for this, but we also, alongside that, got the PC trailer, which is pretty cool. Always love seeing the 4K high-res graphics and everything. One interesting thing was that this year they are partnered with AMD rather than NVIDIA, so fingers crossed this doesn't cut any of the NVIDIA support features. I wouldn't imagine that's the case, but we also don't have any details or insight on what that AMD contract would be. If they're going to prioritize a lot more AMD features and maybe not add as many things for NVIDIA on that side. So we'll see, but beyond that, we did learn a couple of different things that were pretty cool out of that trailer. The one that I saw a lot of people jumping out at immediately was the L96 was confirmed here in this trailer, where it had a quick little flash of rechambering around, and honestly, I'm just excited to see that weapon come back. That would make it the third confirmed sniper that we have on top of what we already saw in the beta. I would imagine there's probably like at least one more coming with the full weapon list. I'm actually really surprised that we haven't seen anything official on the weapon listing just yet for the full weapon offering. Kind of surprised that not only one, they haven't revealed it, but that we haven't really had a confirmed leaked list just yet. We had, like, of course, a large number of them that were leaked from ages ago, but it wasn't something that I've seen updated or amended that it's been like the definitive go-to list of what we'll see here for everything. So we'll see what still is to come. I'm assuming we're gonna get that here in the next couple of days, either this week or the start of next. Of course, otherwise we're just gonna see it at launch, but they're gonna reveal something. And then the other thing that was interesting out of this trailer was there was a grappling hook that you could end up using in the campaign. Now that seems to be right now a campaign only feature, but hey, I kind of think that if you bring that over into Warzone, that would be a really cool sort of skill gap item, perhaps, that would allow you to have a bit more evasive maneuvers, scale a building, and get the jump on a player at some point. I think that'd be really cool to see. I don't know how that would work in MP, if it would at all, but definitely in Warzone, I think it could work. We saw that, of course, happen with Blackout, which I loved that thing. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it come back within Black Ops 6 and the Warzone integration to follow, but we'll have to wait and see. For now, that is everything that we learned as of today's little blog post, and revealing a little bit more, not as in-depth or as sort of explosive information as what we've seen beforehand and what I'm expecting still to come in the next couple of days here, but still some good information, no less. Now, the final thing I want to mention before we gear up for Black Ops 6 here is to check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. I firmly believe they're the best blue light glasses on the market, and I've worked with them for nearly 4 years now, which is kind of crazy to consider, but cannot recommend them enough. They're the most lightweight, comfortable, and durable frames on the market as far as I've used, and I definitely think they've helped my daily productivity. Full transparency, they're a bit more of an investment, but I do think your vision's absolutely worth investing into, especially if you're like me with Black Ops 6 coming up, where you're going to be grinding and looking at a screen, whether it be your gameplay monitor or you're editing a video like I would be, whatever the case. If you're looking at a screen for a good chunk of your day, this is absolutely something that can help you out. If you guys would like to learn more, at the very least, I'd recommend checking out their website, where they can better break down the science and all the specifics way better than I could, but what I can personally say is that I'd highly recommend them. So if you want to learn more, check the link in the description below, and of course, if you want to pick something up for yourself, use code Espresso to get 10% off your entire order. For now, that's what we're going to call it. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of the new details here on preloads, on launch? You're going to be taking a trip to New Zealand. Let me know your thoughts down below. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor, drop a like on it. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 6 as we gear up for launch. I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.